This is a very arrogant position, of course. It's a very delusional idea. But it is really the idea that was espoused by government after government, starting in 1991.
President Donald Trump's second term is increasingly being seen as a one-man show, with critics warning that his administration is losing its grip on the global power hierarchy. US diplomats report a foreign service crippled by empty ambassadorships, acting officials and loyalty-driven fidelity tests, raising fears that Washington's international influence is eroding, according to Politico. According to a dozen State Department insiders, Trump's political appointees are sidelining career diplomats, leaving them confused and frustrated. More than half of US ambassadorships remain vacant, and key divisions are run by temporary officials, often lacking the experience to manage complex foreign relations. Career diplomats describe a culture of fear, where voicing dissent could jeopardize promotions or even employment.
The Foreign Service is being reshaped into a smaller, weaker force, where diplomats are implementers rather than innovators. If internal voices are silenced, the U.S. risks stumbling into avoidable crises.
Adding to these concerns, prominent economist Jeffrey Sachs has warned that Trump, like every president since John F. Kennedy, remains trapped by the military-industrial complex and unable to chart an independent foreign policy.
From 17 minutes to midnight, Bill Clinton came, it moved closer. George W. Bush Jr. came, it moved closer to midnight. Barack Obama moved closer to midnight. Trump won, moved closer to midnight. Biden, closer to midnight. Now it's 89 seconds to midnight. So less than 1.5 minutes to midnight from 17.5 minutes.
By contrast, China is asserting itself as a rising leader in the multipolar world. Government advisor Zheng Yongnian has urged Beijing to create a China-centric international relations knowledge system, emphasizing the country's history, cultural traditions, and unique geopolitical path. Zheng argues that Western frameworks, realism, liberalism, constructivism, cannot fully explain China's global role, according to South China Morning Post. The call aligns closely with President Xi Jinping's Global Governance Initiative, GGI, unveiled at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. The initiative promotes multipolarity, shared development, and sovereign equality, positioning China as a stable and responsible global power. Citing examples such as the Great Wall and the tributary system, Zhang framed China's diplomatic tradition as one of defensive strategy, regional stability, and long-term cohesion. Analysts note the stark contrast. As the US struggles with internal dysfunction and diminishing soft power, China is steadily advancing a vision of global leadership rooted in intellectual autonomy and strategic clarity. Sachs argues that this US dysfunction is compounded by its fixation on NATO expansion and endless conflicts.
The war in Ukraine is a war that the US caused. Not a war that Putin caused, but a war that the US caused by expanding the military alliance, NATO, eastward, and trying to set up a military base or bases in Ukraine and in the South Caucasus, especially the country Georgia. And the Russian government said, no, you can't have military bases on our border. We don't accept that.
Trump's administration appears more focused on loyalty tests and internal control than effective diplomacy, while China is building frameworks that speak to centuries of governance and stability. The global balance is quietly tilting.
As the US grapples with internal mismanagement, empty ambassadorial posts, and a foreign service constrained by loyalty tests, China is steadily projecting a vision of global leadership rooted in strategic foresight, historical wisdom, and multipolar cooperation. Sachs warns that while Washington remains entangled in reckless policies, Beijing is shaping a world order that prizes stability and long-term influence.
The Americans did not accept Ukraine's call for neutrality. What did the United States do to the president who wanted neutrality? It overthrew that president in February 2014.
While Washington struggles to maintain its grip, Beijing is quietly consolidating global influence, suggesting that the era of unchallenged American dominance may be giving way to a more measured and enduring Chinese ascendancy.
So I'll conclude here for our discussion to say that the world really is dangerous right now because of this mindset, on the one hand, that I've described in the US, and at the same time because of changing reality. I want to end on an optimistic note. If we can avoid conflict because of the technological revolution, we really could have a world of shared prosperity.